The hypnosis is in the deadening of the cells, the deadening of the body, the deadening of the parasympathetic. See, the parasympathetic is the part of us that heals. When the sympathetic system, which is running very fast, it's like, you know, tiny little cogs that move very, very quick. When they steam and burn and go banjaxed, the parasympathetic is the oil and the sort of a balm, you know, that's meant to come and heal wounds, heal trauma, heal stress. Now there's a disconnect, and it's been pushed down, down, down into the depths. And religion calls that hell. Actually, they have no clue what they're talking about. The depths is where the spirit is, actually. They've inverted it. Like everything I said is an inversion, right? So this parasympathetic system, which is just a form of bioenergy, a very clean, pure, deep form of bioenergy, needs to swell into the body in the way that Reich talked about. And it's no longer doing that. The armoring is exactly what the word means, is to prevent the flushing of spiritual energy into your body. Then we get into this paradox by which we also don't want to do that because we don't want to touch upon the trauma that, you know, the parasympathetic systems would help. So what we do, instead of bringing the parasympathetic systems to bear, which was the classic way, and as I said in Qigong and in Tai Chi, they do this. This is what they're so good at doing, just to clarify for people why you want to go and do this. Because people are busy and they say, Mike, you're telling me to get involved with other things. I don't even have the time. I don't have the time to finish the books you've recommended or even watch your own programs. You know, fuck that. Find the time.
Yeah.
Find the fucking time, right? Because this is important. So the thing is that's why. Because the inebriation is to suppress the pain. So like the foods, the sugars, all the other routines, a lot of the daydreaming, the magazines, it's all to help you suppress what you do not want to feel. So one of the first things you do with shadow work is to stop eating that crap. You know, become a vegetarian, become a vegan, clean it all out. It's cleansing, sanitization. Stop the alcohol, stop the intake of sugars. Then your body can breathe. We talked about earlier the skin breathing, going to nature. This is all part of going to nature. Going to nature doesn't mean climbing, you know, going out and climbing trees. It means going back to your body. They're synonymous. And then the purging of that is shadow work, because then the body can start to tell you where the ailments and the pain is, and that's how you dig down. Because in the very beginning of our interview, we talked about digging down to get to the ancestral trauma. And again, that's very vague for people. They have no clue what you're talking about. It doesn't even sound plausible. I'll make it plausible for you. It starts with your diet. It starts with your watching the things by which you're inebriating pain. You know, and there's a million ways to do it. To depress yourself, to do it. And so what's happening is you're now self-divided because sympathetic and parasympathetic aren't working together. There's no reason for this parasympathetic to work. It grinds to a halt because you've got all these external soporifics and bromides, you see, to tone down the body's feeling, to prevent the body from feeling. Alcohol, you know, probably being one of the top. But alcohol is basically sugar anyway, so you know, there you are. It all comes back to sugar. And then that ties into the conspiracy because, like at the end of my Atlantis book, I've got a giant section showing you that from the 9th century onwards or something. I think I actually is from the 8th century. We've got a chronology. It's Val Valerian, his great chronology. I got permission to put it into the book. And it's from the 8th century down to the modern day about how opium, mercury, tobacco, and sugar, the four great means by which the hierarchy has kept man physically. We're not talking intellect now. Please note this. We're talking about body. We're talking about body. So there is no getting to that mountain peak. There's no sharpening the blade until you've dyed all of that. Right? The mercury, which is, you know, found in multiple ways, the heavy metals or the fluoride or, you know, I don't know. Mercury was one of the great things that pervade in the ancient world. It was one of the ways that the royalists and the elites discovered they could poison water and beer, right? Mercury poisoning and all the derivatives of. Opium, classic. It's in all of the different pharmaceutical products, right? Tobacco, same thing. And then finally the big one, sugar. So the money that's been made, they've made their billions out of it actually. If you dig down deep and find out where these guys even made their money, they made it from these four primary sources, right? And we've got a huge thesis on this in the back of the Atlantis book. It blows people away. People have bought my book just for that chronology. Incredible when you find out how many machinations have gone through. See, so then you have to turn it around by saying, yeah, but I can, that's the ancestral way that me and my forefathers have been impoverished and weakened and made infirm. So I'm going to start clearing it out of my life. Not fanatically, but ritualistically. You don't want to become fanatical about anything. But
yeah, everything in moderation and balance, you know. But at the same time, like what you're saying is drawing attention to that as to, you know, are you engaging the activity simply because, you know, you want to relax, or you enjoy something, or it's like a special occasion or something, or are you engaging in it because you're trying to drown out that voice, or you're trying to drown out pain and suffering, you're trying to hide and have all these different escape mechanisms, and then, you know, you're going to slowly watch what kind of damage that does to your body at the cellular level at the same time, right?
Yeah, and then the money you're buying, Jack Daniels, and the jacking the price up of cigarettes. I'm all for smoking and having a drink, you know, whatever. But I mean, you've got to, if you're really on the path of purification, then you have to, you know, there's periods in life where you've got to cut it out. But even then, we're talking even the financial side. You know, as I show on my forum and stuff, oh my God, the money, maybe gazillions all over the world from this stuff. And again, when you go into the packaging, you see all the subliminal stuff. Literally, either you know, like the pyramid on Marlboro cigarettes, where they're telling you, here we are, we're doing it to you.
Yeah.
Or the Black Horse on Welcome, you know, and all these other horrible, horrific companies. So with our dollars, we have power physically to circumvent these leviathans. That's very key. And people, you know, like Joel Bacan and others have done wonderful work showing how you can do that. That's a very key part of it, to say with your dollar you can bring down these institutions. That's very, very, very true. And then you can also bring it down because you're perfecting your own being so that you're now qualified, because we don't get qualification. See, people in this alternative movement are not qualified by some degree. No. The qualification here is purity. The qualification here is doing shadow work. That's what qualifies you to go on and have any hope of getting your message out to the rest of the world. You can't do it as in any other way. You have to be sanitized within yourself. That's right. It's the Eigenwelt.
Yeah.
Or the Eigenwelt, whatever way you want to pronounce it. But the inner being is that which articulates the rest. You don't have as much authority over the Mitwelt, and you don't have as much authority over the Umwelt. You can do a certain amount out there, you know, animal rights activism, whatever. Yeah, but it all starts articulated with what you do within yourself, in the Eigenwelt, the inner self. Connected to what we were talking about, Leonard Schlein had a quote. He said, "Dying men on a battlefield cry out for their mothers, not their fathers. The last word they utter is likely to be the same as their first word when they were born, mama." Right? So the advertising people know this. Yeah. Like I said, those beach scenes, those, you know, Bounty ads or whatever, you know, whatever it may be, these Bacardi advertisements, when they're selling you that paradisical passive place where you can forget about the troubles, the discontent in your body, the toxicity, right? The mental instability and problems, right? They want you to regress to the level of a child, right? So you have to resist that. Part of the healing is to heal your body and understand where the counter healing is. What is the source of the toxicity? So in my work, I advocate. See, I'm not out there like a David Wolf, or, you know, why did I not go into actual, you know, nutrition or body work or any of these things? Because there's other people far, far better than me. And my focus was, I'm into polarity therapy, I'm into all these things, yeah, but I'm not going to practice it because I'm interested in not only saying that you need to be clean and healthy, but my expertise is showing you where the toxicity originates.
The sources.
Most of that is psychology. It's controversial. And it's through these advertisements and through the whole zeitgeist, the way they're teaching kids, you know, you want to escape all your discomfort, mentally, physically, emotionally, bodily. Yeah, there's a million ways to do it. We caffeinate the fuck out of you. We stick so much sugar down your throat. Then we say, here's the basketball. Go and rush about like a maniac now. Even at some point they go steal cars, you know, do criminal things. Yeah, because they got have you ever seen the state of it? There's no peace, there's no quiet, there's no silence in any teen because they're so caffeinated, they're so sugarified. Their brains are like on fire. So you live all through those years, right? Utterly needing to have physical activity, but it's the wrong kind of physical activity. It's just burning off the poisons that they put in your body. At every day that goes by, the parasympathetic system is getting more and more banjaxed. You're getting more and more institutionalized. As I said, it's in the young days that you don't realize you're being indoctrinated. They're winning every day because you're in inner conflict. And you're solving the inner conflict by this inebriation, which is, as I said, a form of self-hypnosis. Once you finally understand what self-hypnosis is, our image of sitting on the couch, you know, and somebody waving a watch in front of you, you know, regressing in the mind, it's partly that. But there's another kind of self-hypnosis that's never been addressed by anybody in this world. And that is the relationship you have with your body. In fact, even to say it just goes right through somebody's ear and out the other. They go, what are you talking about? Because we're so disconnected from it. But you only have to open your cupboard, and I'll show you self-hypnosis. Yeah, and then they wonder why they're creating nothing except the most mediocre rubbish, or it's borrowed from other people, carried on. There's no originality, because nobody's ever told them that even the greatest scientific discoveries were made by way of imagination. By the way,
Exactly.
Einstein admitted it, and many others have done. Heisenberg, they've all admitted there was flashes of intuition, flashes of imagination that even brought about some of the greatest scientific theories. So we're not taught that. So then nobody knows about it. So then there's no reason to be clean, because in being clean, it's a vividness that then you're interacting with the source of life, right? We said man is the essence, but below him is the essence of essences, which is the spirit. How can the spirit talk to you if you're toxic, if you're inebriated? You have to be a whole person. Parasympathetic, sympathetic, yin-yang, masculine, feminine, nagual, tonal, right? They all have to be working together, the destructive and the creative, the active and the passive, the silent and the loud, the ego and the self. There has to be a harmonization before the real work takes place. And then behind that is a choice. Because I said freedom is the basis of all things. You have the freedom to do what we're talking about, or you have the freedom not to. So freedom is the ultimate gnosis of all. Because what we're talking about, a person can decide to do it, or they can not decide to do it. Right? That's where we're at. Then they can take that up to the social level, in which the whole ethos is either denying the stuff we're talking about, which it is, that's materialism, or it is spiritualism. It accepts it. So it's a choice, whether it's on the higher level or the individual level. But I'm assuming that people who listen to us want solutions. I've dealt in solution think from the first products, first DVDs, talks. I've always been focused on that. I did mention that it wouldn't be instant. It's like I said, you have to have the time to extrapolate. People didn't allow me the time to do that. They go, you're just too long-winded. What is all these different subjects you're into, and why is it taking so long? Yeah, because what are you talking about? You think that you can hand down to people who've been indoctrinated for centuries, that I can just come in a half an hour talk, give it all to you in a single article or a single presentation? It's not possible. That's why I don't do it. You will have to wait until this book follows that book and this DVD follows. You're going to have to wait. And I'm going to say that, I'm lucky to say that some of my, people who love my work the best have absolutely stood by me all these years, have realized that it's worth it, because you're getting such deep stuff related to that it was, in other words, worth the wait, as opposed to these crackers and cookies that other guys are throwing out there, a lot of empty air.
Oh, and you know what, Michael, a lot of your criticizers out there, I can tell just by what they bring up and what they say and how they comment that they don't have a fucking clue what you've been talking about. They don't look at it at all. Yeah,
that's why I don't read comments anymore. Anything I never have for a long time, because there's not even anything articulate there. It's usually rubbish, and I'll only answer an email, if it's from a respectful source. Of course, I get loads of emails from people who are helping me with my work, sending me stuff I didn't know about. So there's all of that, but I'm not including those people, the collaborators or whatever. And you've sent me, so many great links and stuff. So it's not that. It's just the rank and file, because the rank and file want it in quick sound bites, because that's what it's like a form of self-hypnosis. It's a form of inebriation from the world. If I get sound bites on mainstream TV, Michael, then I'm demanding it from you. Why aren't you giving me the sound bites? You want to fix me? You fix me now. Well, see, Michael never told you that was the plan. He doesn't address people like you. You're the one who's gone wrong. You're in the wrong camp. I don't address people like you. I have never even gone out to advertise myself. People come to me for interviews and to know what it's all about.
Yeah. And
my work is like that. It is there. When people are ready, they come to me. I do not go to them. I provided stuff, but I don't, go. Rarely do I do a tour. Rarely do I do an appearance now. Pretty much under the same philosophy. It's not that I'm totally against it. It's just that, the philosophy is my work is only for those who are ready now. They've gone through a lot of other people's work. They found it inadequate. And now they want to come into a place where it's really a sanctum, where the stuff has been preserved. It's like we talked about in the Hierophant card. A certain level of preservation is needed, of antiquity, a certain reverence for the work, which is really holy work. Browsing, no. Don't come to Michael Tsarion if you just want to browse and you want to dabble. Sorry, no good. It's going to be something so much more articulated than that. and it's going to take your time, and I want to see that time even being spent, because that's how you awaken the essence within. It's not just downloading somebody else's work, plugging in some program, and it all lights up for you, you know. No, there's an enormous act of self-cleansing just to read my work, just to get into my work is part of the holy work. You can't come into a martial artist's master class and then say, yeah, go ahead and teach me in that one evening.
Yeah, it's impossible. It is a lifetime.
Yes. They'll say, you're back in the class. I'm going to have you do extra work.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to make it harder for you, which is the old shamans used to do.
Yeah.
When they knew that arrogance was there, they go and sweep the yard. The class doesn't begin yet for you. Go shovel out the pig shit. That's how it used to be in the old days. If they heard a trace of arrogance, they knew how to get you going. On the Siddhartha road, they put endless hurdles in front of you. You know, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again.
Wax on, wax off.
You see?
Yeah.
Now it's like instant, instant, instant. But in that very instantaneousness, that desire for it is the falsity right there. Yeah. So you have to already get people out of that. You've already get people out of that. And it's not that hard. It's just like at the beginning of Architects of Control. It all boils down to three questions. Where did I come from? Who am I? Where am I going? We know that in order to be here, we must have come from somewhere. So like I said, in order to be self-conscious, right, you had to be conscious, and then you had to be unconscious. So anyone who wants to enter into these mysteries only needs to start from the coordinates of exactly where they are. Then, like I said, you go to the body. What is my body state? Forget the mind for a minute. Is my body toxic? Am I uncomfortable? What's my sleep patterns like? Am I on the go all the time? Am I eating the wrong food? You see? So it all ripples out concentrically from where you are. There's nobody coming from the outside to dictate. That's the system. That's what they do. We are moving from the essence out. And it is a discussion. We're just looking at things, and it's no more than those three basic questions. In order to be here, you must have come from somewhere. So how much do you know about that? Well, no, I don't know really anything about it. What about the deep memory? Well, I don't know anything about that. Yeah, so isn't it time to find out? Where all the constituents and components, which as I said are mental and physical, where they came from. Okay, do you have a grasp of yourself as you're sitting here now? Where you know, are you grounded? Are you rooted? Are you aware of how far along you are with your occupation, your vocation, and your recreation? Are they all in balance? Or are you just a strictly episodic recreational person? Have you attained your vocation yet? Or are you just mindlessly doing what the system wants you to do? Mindlessly doing what parents wanted you to do to breed them some grandkids or whatever, you know, whatever. Or are you bringing those children up the right way, healthily, in all levels, not intellectually, but physically as well, so that they can awaken their dreams, because if you're not pure in body, you won't dream. Your dreams will be hideous,
right.
Nightmare. And if your dreams are off, then don't tell me you're going to have a connection with spirit. If your own dreams aren't remembered, aren't pure, aren't informative, aren't inventive, then don't talk to me about religion and how you go to church and God loves you. No, all of these things must be flowing through you so that you're waking up and painting, creating art, not just playing musical instruments, but maybe even inventing new ones. Going where nobody has gone before, breaking the barriers, not out of competition to the neighbors or some other person. That's just master slave. I'm putting him down. I'm going to run faster, be better, have a higher IQ. None of that shit. I'm not talking about what the world has told you is great. I'm talking about that you're passionate about something. Making those sculptures, making those clay pots, making that jewelry, digging that garden. You're doing it because it's purely vocational. And then from that center of vocation, you're able to find occupational things that are tangential to that. But good, you've earned a living now. That's wonderful. But it should be vocation first, occupation later. A person comes to me and I see that they've only jumped through these hoops because daddy told me to do it, or I'm following on the footsteps of previous people. I happen to be good at this, I got a degree in it, but I hate my life, I hate what I'm doing, I wish I could do something different. As I said, when you analyze who you are, you find out that you're an amalgam of desires, most of them unfulfilled. So there's your starting place right there. What is that all about? And this is what your Hegels and this is what your Schellings did. They said, I want to know what this is all about. I am desire. In order to fulfill my desires, I have to have time. So I'm time. If I extend past my individual life, then others are doing it. So that's history. So now I'm history. Because what I do, others have done. My God. You see, so you start from there. And that's how the philosophy begins. Just from your own starting point. You start to notice So what am I doing? Am I a victim of desire? Do I suppress it like they're telling me in the East and not have it? Well, that's ridiculous, because before I brought my consciousness to bear on it, it's quite natural to be a desiring creature. And half the stuff I desire is good for me. So I wouldn't want to suppress it so that I can throw all that shit out. You see? So you're already making progress. You're already making progress just by dealing with the basics. And that's what this Path of the Fool does. It might look like we're getting into very heady areas, but we're not. I am not straying far away from the basics of all the monumental questions that have been asked from the dawn of time. It's just different thinkers speak it in different language, different complexions, different coloring, different hue. But the questions are the same, and they will always be the same. And that's because there can be no A to Z answers that fit the whole of the world. Mankind's sitting there like a bunch of chicks waiting for the mother bird to come and feed them all. No, you've got to go out on your own wings and find it. You're not. The mother can't tell you what it's like to be in the breeze flying through the air. Well, let me end on this. We've been bashing Descartes, but he actually said the secret of what all of my work is about. I think, therefore I am. Nobody could put it better, because there's actually two beings implied in that famous statement. Not many people have noticed this. There's the thinker, I think, therefore I am, and then there's the am. The mistake is to identify the am, the being, with the thinker. The thinker posits an existence, a self, but the self is not to be considered only identical with the thinking process. So we've sold out the am part. We've sold out the self. We have the thinking, but suddenly the thing that the thinking is about has been sold out. My work is to say, you can buy it back.